Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the desert that is Royal Waterfront. So a little bit of warm weather, 40 degrees yesterday. It is very burnt out, and we're going to be talking today about what kind of shots we want to be playing in these conditions and what I see a lot, even if it's not this kind of condition. And we're around about 70 yards away from the flag. It's playing into the breeze today, so we're looking at 80 yards to the flag. So I'm going to play as an 80-yard shot. A lot of the times what I'll see people do from here, go straight to this club, the 58 or the 60 degree, and try and give it everything they've got. If I hit this full, it'll get there, it'll be landing, it'll have more spin. So I'm going to play this shot now, and then we're going to talk through those exact things that I've just said. A lot of people think that we're going to get more spin here. So if I hit it a little bit harder, it's going to land with a better landing angle, and then it's going to spin back. So like I said, playing this as 80 into this breeze, narrower stance, full hit. So way up into the air, we'll see that come down. And that's just got to the front edge of the green, so I'll hopefully be able to zoom in on that. So I've given that everything. It's just got to the front of the green. It went up into the clouds, if there were any clouds, and it's come down very soft. So it's landed just on the edge of the green. So the surround at the moment is still very green, is still very lush, so that's stopped dead. If at your golf course, that's a hard pan, it's landed onto a bit of an upslope, so that might have come back. And from there, when it lands on that, we saw that there was no spin. So even landing into something that is very receptive, we're not getting any spin. So we've got to think that when we've got this club, and we've got a lot of loft on there, what's going to happen is if I present a lot of loft into the ball's going to slide up the face. It's going to slide up the face. It's not really going to get any control. It's not going to get any grip. As a result, it's not going to get much spin. So when people are playing these shots thinking, oh, it'll spin, they play it in, it lands perfectly at the flag, you expect it to stop dead, and then it runs 30 foot past the hole, it runs off the back of the green. That's exactly the reason why. It's not the club, it's not the grooves, you don't need new wedges, you don't need a better technique. The simple fact is that ball, because of the loft presented, is going to slide up the face. So we've got to think there, what do I need to do off this lie, which then is going to get that ball launching lower and getting more spin. So the more we can get that club face to a certain extent, this way the ball's going to grip the face a little bit more and come off with a little bit more spin. So obviously we're saying the ball's only on the face for a very short amount of time, but even that difference is going to get the ball having a little bit more spin. So we can do it by changing our stance with the 60 degree, but it's going to become very hard. So if I move that ball position back, I've then got to open up. I've got a lot of forward shaft lean, and on this kind of lie we might get away with it, but that can also encourage a steep angle of attack, and the ball rides the face anyway. So a lot of people will get into the position back in the stance, hands forwards, try and drive it in, and it still goes too high and it doesn't get the distance, and the people think, well, why has that done that? I've done everything I should do to get the ball lower. Because the angle of attack's got a little bit steeper, it's going to encourage it to ride up. So a nice and easy way to get a little bit less loft is we can go down to the 54, or in this set I've got today, because I did forget my club, so thank you Luca for lending me these. We could also go down potentially to a 50 degree. As a result, at 50 degrees, again, we're not having to make much of a motion. It's going to come in lower with more spin. So people think, I'm swinging slower, I shouldn't generate more spin. But because it's got that little bit more time on the face and loft, it's going to launch lower and then come in with a little bit more spin. So same stance width, a little bit back in the stance. My weight is left, and you see the main thing here, and I'll talk about in some other videos, is this left foot turning out. So that just allows us to rotate better, because the key for us here is getting that body turning, which helps take the loft off. So playing it as an 80-yard shot. So drawing in a little bit off the lie, and we can see that's landed and did have a little bit of spin. So that had a little bit too much spin. It's gone to probably around about 8 feet on the fringe, but you see there, I could have dropped down another club, I could have gone to the 50. You can see there it's got a little bit too much spin, it's come back, whereas with the 50 that might have just bounced and stopped dead. So trial and error guys with this. So thinking about what you're going to do, sending it in lower. If your greens are receptive at the moment, if like ours here at Waterfront, it's lush around the green, the sprinklers are catching that bit of area, we can still get some control, then think about dropping down loft, and that's how you're going to generate more spin. You're not going to generate more spin by hitting it harder with a 58 or with the dreaded 60, because that's going to leave you short. On the other hand, if you're playing into firm greens and it's firm surrounds, if you're playing links golf and the greens are a little bit firmer, then you want to think about playing with a landing angle. So you might then hit your 58, you might then hit your 60, but you also might be trying to land it short depending on what the green does. If the green runs away from you, then obviously what we want to do is maybe go with a 56, open it up a little bit, or your 54 and open it up a little bit, so it gets you that little bit of extra distance. But we've got to counter for these kind of shots. But thinking about how you're going to get spin, what kind of shot you need to play, you see the low and direct one there was much easier, a lot less effort, just getting the body turning, and percentage wise should get you closer. So here's another shot similar to the last that I see a lot of people struggle with. So we've got a green here that's a little bit into and uphill to start with, and it goes downhill towards the flag. So a lot of people are trying to think, right, I need a bit of spin control here, because if I can get it landing on the top of the hill, bit of check, and then it'll roll down the slope. And this is where people again get the 60 degree out, get the 58, try and create something, which again you can, if we get the ball position back, create a steep angle of attack, and get that trying to come out low. That's exactly what I start to see. People get a little bit leading edge going forward, a bare lie. We get that one that comes out too low and runs straight through. What's an easier option to do for that? So we can play a 60 degree here, and we can rely on a bit of landing angle. So I could play that shot where I'm going to try and pitch it again halfway there. So I'm looking, and I've gone onto the green, I've walked off the green here, and I know my landing zone is from around about here, which is just past halfway, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 strides, so I've got a pretty big landing zone that I could land that ball in, and then I need to think about the trajectory there. Do I need to play a 60? Like I just said there, I could play a 60, I could land it in there with a mid-flight. Again, to play a mid-flight, I'm probably going to nudge that just to the centre, club just a little bit back, and I'm going to have a little bit of forward shaft lean. But if we get any kind of drive, we're going to hit the shot that we've just hit there. I've got a 50 degree here, so nice and easy, I can drop down to that, land it in a similar landing zone to what I've just said, but make a much more easier motion of just getting that body turning straight in the middle of my landing zone, and that's rolled down to around about 3 feet. So if we start to talk stats here, from that distance around 20 to 30 yards, the best on tour would be hitting it to around about 6 feet. The average on tour would be around about 7.5 feet. So not an easy shot, into an upslope, then onto a downslope, and I've been able to do that with a nice easy motion with the 50. On the other hand, from the same distance, trying to make a shot, trying to do a lot of manipulation, that's left me well outside the tour average. If we then talk about the previous shot though, so the 80-yard shot, we're looking at around about 13 feet for the best on tour and 17 feet as an average. So once I've dropped down a club, swung it a little bit easier, had a little bit more control of my spin, I was able to hit that to around about 7 feet, so well inside the tour average. Okay, that's a one-off there over the season. So you'll then think about the first shot I hit, so with the 58 degree, full swing, full hit, pretty good distance, a little bit to the right because I wasn't able to control the start line as well. That went to around about 30 feet, and the tour average is 17 feet. So you can see, trying one shot I was way outside the tour average, where I'm more than likely going to not be able to get up and down potentially as an average golfer, whereas the other one I'll be backing myself to have an outside chance at getting a birdie. So you can see there, as we go around, we're going to talk more tour averages over different distance shots and out of the rough and around the green and off different lies in the coming weeks. But think about it guys, when you're around the green, think about what's the simplest shot. When we're talking about spin, we've got to realise the more loft we have and the harder we hit it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get more spin. Taking some speed out, getting a little bit more grip on the face will give you more control, not only on your start line, but also on your fly, and most importantly, on your spin. We can then start to pick your landing zones better, hit shots closer, and lower your scores. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Watch out next week, I have got something coming up in September, So if you are looking to get some online coaching, if you are wanting to improve your short game over the winter and into next year, then look out for that. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again later in the week.